welcome to my podcast. This is Julie Hogue with Vegetarians and Meat Lovers Split Table Recipes podcast, where I talk about food and cooking for a split table, making what I call hybrid recipes. I coined that term, and I did it on my podcast, yes, and my blog at juliehoguewriter.com, and in my cookbooks, One Dish, Two Diets, where I have a bunch of tips about how to cook for a split table and some recipes. And then I also have the American Midwest Quiches, which is very flavored by where I live, which is in Minnesota in the Midwest. So I really like simple, easy recipes. I do like to get gourmet sometimes, but it really can take a long time, as you all know. So I like to keep things simple sometimes. But Happy New Year! This is a new year, 2025. And I'm super excited to see where this podcast is going to go and have you come along with me. Oh, we had such a great holiday. Our oldest, was home from Eau Claire. He's in college there. It was great to have him home. He isn't staying the full month. So this is the first time he's not staying the full month because he has an internship, but he's coming home every weekend. So he's coming back today. And we just had a great holiday season. We did host. So we were really busy, and we have 3 dogs, a guinea pig, and the 3 kids. And all this time we've gone without a shampooer for the carpet. I don't know how that's possible, but we made it this long. We got one, and we got it before holidays because our oldest dog is starting to have accidents. He's like 16. He's really old. And so we were just going crazy with the shampoo or washing everything. Before we've done it, we've rented it, but it really isn't as worth it as owning one. So we had a great holiday season, though. I made my usual foods and all those traditional holiday foods that we do. And also for New Year's Eve, we did a bunch of appetizers. And so we did a lot of good food, which I'm sure you all did. This particular episode, I'm going to talk about some quiches. Now, I actually did these quiches on Christmas Day. When we woke up, I had things prepped a little bit, and so then I could easily compile these quiches for our Christmas Day brunch. And so this particular recipe is in my American Midwest Cooking Quiches, and my husband's comment was this is one of his favorite quiches. So I thought, you know what? This will be a good one to do to start off the year, 2025, for this podcast episode. It's a jalapeno cream cheese quiche. And then I got the idea of altering this a little bit because as many moms, often moms are cooks, a lot of dads are too, so I'm not going to say that it's only just women that cook. Know this, that a lot of their kids don't all like the same thing. Our youngest does not like spicy things at all. He was so funny. When he was young, he used to call pop spicy, soda pop, like Sprite and stuff, because it was all the fizzy stuff. He'd call it spicy. Pop was spicy to him. He used to think mint toothpaste was spicy. He still doesn't like mint toothpaste. But so it's so funny how to him, these super strong flavors were spicy. Toothpaste, pop. For the longest time, he would not drink soda pop. Now he's 15 and he still doesn't drink it a whole lot. He doesn't like those strong flavors. He does not like medium salsa. So, I thought, okay, we're making this jalapeno cream cheese quiche. I've got to do something different for him. So I altered it. So I'm going to include both recipes in this episode. Also, the onion and chives cream cheese recipe. So I made one of each this time. And this is how I did it. So this is a meatless quiche, but you could very easily add, because I've made it this way too, where you add bacon bits to one of the quiches, or you can have the bacon bits on the side. What I did this particular time was I cooked bacon on the side. So both quiches were meatless. Okay, so what do you need for this jalapeno cream cheese recipe? Now, so I'm going to do this the way I did it for this particular time because one cream cheese quiche was onion and chives and one was jalapeno. So I'm going to modify it a little bit from how I have it in the cookbook, because in the cookbook, I did the recipe for both quiches being jalapeno cream cheese quiches. Okay, so you need 15 ounces of cream cheese, and it's the flavored cream cheese. So I got 1 jalapeno one, and I think they're like 7.5 ounces or something like that. And then I got 1 onions and chives flavored cream cheese. And obviously you keep those separate. I set them out so they get a little bit warm and soft. And in all, you're going to need 8 eggs, 2/3 cup skim milk, 1/2 cup white onions diced, 1/2 cup red onions diced, which in my opinion should be called purple onions. I don't know why they call it red. My little quirk. 2/3 cup hot jalapeno peppers. And actually we scaled back that a little bit. That's the original recipe. So I want to scale back on that for a second and say that I did 1/3 cup of green chilies and 1/3 cup of the jalapeno peppers pickled in vinegar. And so normally that's doubled and you do both. So for doing these 2 different quiches, you're going to want 1/3 cup of jalapenos and 1/3 cup of green chilies. And I usually do the mild green chilies, especially since he doesn't like spice. Okay, and then what else do you need? You need 1/2 cup shredded cheddar cheese, and that's going to be divided between both quiches. And you need 1/2 teaspoon garlic salt and 2 prepared pie crusts, and set them out at room temperature for at least 15 minutes prior to use so they're kind of soft and they're pliable. So you can press them into the pie pans. And then if you want to add bacon bits, I've done 1/2 cup bacon bits for one of the quiches. Otherwise, skip it if you're doing 2 vegetarian quiches or meatless quiches and doing bacon on the side. Or you can just, add it to both. Whatever you want. That's the great thing about customizing, especially when you're doing like 2 of something. From one recipe, you're doing 2 pans. That's one of my tricks that I often do for cooking for a split table with vegetarians and meat eaters. And then you're going to need 1 tablespoon of olive oil and 2 cups of salsa for topping. So basically, this is how you're going to do it because you're going to make in the 2 different types of quiches, right? So beat together those eggs and milk with a whisk or electric hand mixer, whichever you prefer. Add the salt, the garlic salt, and stir well. Now, when you're doing this, you're going to need to separate it at this point because then from here on out, the ingredients will be for each quiche. So if you want to, you could start out that way and just divide the milk and the eggs or split it when you're halfway through, when you've got it to this point. And so you're going to split them into 2 different bowls if you haven't done it already. And you're going to saute both types of onions in the olive oil until they're tender and then split it into the 2 halves because you're going to use one half for one quiche and the other half for the other. So once you've got your pie crusts all in your pan, press them in there. And I usually roll the crust down at the top. You can do the little pinching where you get the zigzag or however you want to do it, or just roll it to get that edge. And then once you have the pie crust in both of them, you're going to spread the jalapeno peppers in one across that crust, and then the green chilies across the other crust. And then you're going to split the onions. Of course, you already have them where they're split, and you put half in one quiche and half in the other. And then you're going to put the cheese. And so you have these 2 egg mixtures. So obviously you want to add your jalapeno cream cheese to one bowl and your onion and chives cream cheese to the other. And then you're going to want to blend that again so that it gets fully blended. I do like to use a handheld blender. It's like a handheld one where you can whisk it with the blender, and it really mixes it homogeneously better than with a whisk. I mean, you could do it with a whisk, but I feel like it really does a better job when you're doing one of those handheld ones. If you have to, you can use a mixer. Just somehow you can get it dispersed evenly in the milk and the eggs. And it's obviously already has that garlic salt. So then you're going to take that egg and cream cheese mixture and you're going to pour the jalapeno one into the jalapeno quiche and the onion and chives one into that quiche. So they look very similar. So for me, I wanted to make sure I didn't get it wrong because, you can say, okay, one's on the left, one's on the right in the oven. The other thing you can do is mark it. And what I did was I took a little quarter of a piece of cheddar cheese from, just a slice of it, and I put it on the top of the jalapeno one. That was my marker to make sure I didn't mix up the jalapeno and the onion and chives cream cheese one, because I didn't want my son to accidentally eat the jalapeno one and be like, this is terrible. So marking it like that it's a great trick because you can keep it straight. And for our house, it's really important. Often I will mark the meat side or the non-meat side. Somehow would like that. Or, another thing that works really great too is like to take a vegetable, like a little piece of green pepper or something that can sit on top as the marker. And it doesn't sink down in and be like, obviously you can see it when you cut into it. But the ease of having it be where you just know, that's really easy. And there's no question. This is the meatless quiche and this is the meat quiche, or whatever you end up doing. Marking it with a little piece of food that makes it very obvious. Then you don't have to remember, oh, shoot, was it on the right or was it on the left? It's been a great holiday season. I've been loving all the leftovers. We've just really been enjoying it because my husband and I both work from home and the kids have been home off of school. So we've been having all these great, easy leftovers from the holidays. It's been so wonderful to be like, okay, we're hungry. What do we have left? And just to like warm it up. It's just so great. We really are a leftover house. We love leftovers at our house. They very rarely go to waste. And if they are not getting eaten, I freeze it. And so then we have ready-made meals that are frozen. It's so great when you're working from home and all you have to do is like pop something in the microwave. It's so great. It's just so easy. We teach our kids to eat leftovers. And today when food is so expensive, I think people who don't teach their kids to eat leftovers are fools, because you should get used to doing this. It's convenient, it's easy, there's less waste, and you have a ready-made meal. All you have to do is warm it up. So don't throw that away. It drives me crazy when I meet people who don't eat leftovers. And I'm like, what? First of all, that's really expensive. That's a waste. And, you can freeze them. Even if you don't want to eat them right away, if you're sick of that particular food, freeze it. Because in a month or two, or even the next week, you will be so happy to have an easy thing. I know some people are afraid of it being like going bad or something, but if you take action right away and freeze it right away, there's no problem. I mean, it just works great. My problem is sometimes I forget things we have in the freezer and then it's been too long, but usually that doesn't happen. But I always think, geez, someday I'm going to get like really organized and have like a list on the fridge of what's in there and, cross it off when you eat it. But I haven't got to that point yet, but I think that's a fantastic idea. So you don't forget about things. Like if we have just like even one portion left of something, I'll freeze it and I'll label it with a piece of tape and be like, okay, here's a portion of meat lasagna or meatless. So then we have an easy meal. It's so fantastic. I just think it's so valuable to teach your kids to eat leftovers. My kids are so into eating leftovers. And I've met families of friends or, that don't teach their kids to eat leftovers. And number one, it's so wasteful. Number two, why not make their life a little bit easier and get them used to eating leftovers? Why throw away food? I don't understand that. Freeze it or eat it. That's kind of where we're at. Well, I hope you had a wonderful holiday season. I really had a great holiday season. And, it's the wind down. I have to take all my decorations down. I hate doing that. This weekend, I have to do it. It's the weekend after New Year's right now, and I guess I have to do it. I hate doing it. I would rather just avoid that. It's a lot of work and it's just kind of a bummer, right? And also it's nice to move out of a busier time where you can maybe get some more stuff done in January. Right now it's kind of cold in Minnesota. We've had a few warm days, so that was kind of like a teaser of, hey, it's spring. Just kidding. It's really not. Today it's cold. Yesterday I think we got down to 7 degrees. So it was cold. Well, thank you so much for listening to this, and I hope you enjoy the quiches. And if you like quiches, get my little cookbook, American Midwest Cooking Quiches. It has a bunch of quiches in there, and what I really love in the beginning, too, I have a non-quiche recipe in the beginning. It's so good. It's so good. And it's the spread and yogurt bread. It's so good. It's called pesto spread with Italian yogurt bread. Oh, it's so good. You have to check it out. It's so yummy. Well, thank you so much for listening to this. And check out my cookbooks on Amazon. I also have a self-help book for people who are going through grief of losing their mother. It's a short little self-help book, 40 Ways to Celebrate Your Mom After She has Passed Away. And it's about celebrating your mom. So I've had a lot of feedback on it that it's really helpful for people who are grieving. I also have a book called Hungry Hearts, which is a fiction YA novel. And I also have, I'm really excited to say, I'm going to be publishing another novel, a romantic comedy for new adults. So it's people who are like 18 and they get stranded at a cabin. It's going to be called Cabin Crew. For people who loved The Breakfast Club, this book is like a retelling of The Breakfast Club. And it's full of drama. It's full of several romances. It's a really fun, juicy book. And it's all about life and growing up and new romance, new love, and some older romance. So it's a really great story. I hope you enjoy it. So I'm really excited that that's going to be coming out this spring. So if you like fiction, hey, check out my fiction too. All right, you have an amazing day and Happy New Year. Thanks again. Take care. Bye-bye.